People have accidents, and in this modern society with cell phones, I've even had calls at the office, hey Mike, I've been in an accident, what should I do? And they're even at the scene. Every case is a little bit different. It's hard to talk generally, but in general, when an accident has happened and it's not your fault, you need to be able to document what has happened, and as best as you can, try to have a record of who was involved and what happened and who the witnesses are, so that these circumstances can be reproduced and presented maybe a year, maybe 2 years later if need be. So when the accident is not your fault, it's always good to call the policeman, the officer from the city where the accident happened. The other person may not want to do that. They might try to talk you out of that, but it's in your interest to have the officer there who will have a objective record of what took place, who the players were. Again, with cell phones, it's a great idea to take pictures of vehicles, traffic signal devices, intersections. Those kinds of things can be critical in winning a case when things later on become disputed. It's important to try to have a record of who the folks are. When the other person hits you, you would ideally want to know who is that person, what is their address. You would ideally like to know who owns the vehicle that that person was operating. Again, different insurance issues arise depending on who owns the car. So you would like to know who owns the car, their address. Ideally, you'd like to know the insurance company that the folks are claiming that they have standing behind them, both for the driver and the owner of the car. Sometimes they're different. The other thing that I do not recommend is that people call the adverse insurance company. When an accident happens, the adverse insurance company has an interest to protect themselves, to protect their customer, which is contrary to the injured party's interest. They would want to be compensated. And it becomes, with insurance companies, it's quite a, it can be an adverse process. And when you call the insurance company, in effect, you give my opponent a 10-yard head start on the case before you come to me if you've had the accident. And many people do that. There's nothing wrong when you've had an accident to call a lawyer and say, what do I need to do to protect my interest? What is it in my interest to do? This is the recommended way to handle your case and your claim and your interest when you've been hurt.